Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast affiliated with the Imaginarium Convention. It is a great Wednesday evening here in Lexington, Kentucky, where I, Stephen Zimmer, am broadcasting from. And close to me is the lovely, the vivacious, the loquacious, the audacious Holly Phillippe. And she's on time.
Aha!
It's a
I
it's a miracle.
I fooled you. I fooled you today. I did not get my pre-shower in though, because let me tell you, people, I made this very long and complicated meal. I fried 7 pounds of chicken and then made homemade gravy from the drippings, homemade from scratch mashed potatoes, and then we had green beans. So
Well, there you
yeah,
go, getting all the audience hungry to kick off the
the
show.
the grandkids have been fed, and yeah, by the time I got all that cleaned up, yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
So
you're giving the audience the munchies right from the get
I
go.
am, but I have a full belly myself, so
Yes.
I'm good.
Well, personally, it is a great day because we are celebrating the 5th anniversary of the day that we gave Albert and Victoria, our two lovable tuxedo cats, a home, and we did that. We were out, of course. We told the story a few times before on the show, but we adopted them together so that they could stay together. So, go check out my profile on Facebook. I've also got a post on X and Blue Sky and some other places, but I put pictures up of both of them, recent pictures from the past few days, and gave a little salute to them. But yeah, we're celebrating Albert and Vicky being family members for 5 years, and hopefully infinitely more years to come, and lots of good health because they definitely bring a lot of light, even on the rough days. They bring a lot of light into our world. So, yeah, we're very grateful for that. And yes, and they are often listening and nearby during the show. So, yeah, they're usually very close when we're broadcasting this.
That's true.
But it is. But we've got, before we bring on tonight's guest, of course, we're going to give you the updates on the Imaginarium Convention from the past week, of which there are several, and then also give a spotlight to those who have brought you tonight's show. So first of all, yes, we're going to discuss some great stuff. We got some new guests and new programming additions. We did have 4 new panelists announced since the last show, and they include some new folks. Actually, all 4, or 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4 are new to the Imaginarium for the first time, and 1 is returning after a few years. So yes, this is great. So anyway, I will give you the scoop on this. But we welcomed author and podcaster P.E. Craven and also author B.A. Richards. And then we also welcomed podcaster Shelley Grant and author and publisher Kelly Brackenoff. And so, yes, the 4 brand new panelists, 3 of them, Kelly, Shelley, and P.E. Craven, are new to Imaginarium for the first time, making their first visits. And B.A. Richards is coming back after a few years. So I'm really excited about this. And we did talk earlier about, I think about a week before, about 2 workshops that B.A. Richards will be giving at Imaginarium. Then we also welcomed award-winning author and musician Vaughn McKee as a spotlighted guest. And she won the 2024 Western Fictioneers Peacemaker Award, and also is an accomplished singer and musician who recorded for MCA, toured nationally for several years, including 2 Grand Ole Opry guest appearances. And so, yes, award-winning author, just absolutely fantastic, and is also a Western Writers of America Spur winner. So, this comes on the heels of those 2 just great guests that we announced the week before with 9-time Silver Spur award-winning author Johnny D. Boggs, who has been added as one of our guests of honor, and award-winning author R.G. Yoho, who is added as an Imaginator guest. So, yeah, we've got some, just great people that have come aboard, and it keeps coming. We got more guest announcements ahead, and we're working on even more. So, yeah, we hope to have a lot of more cool stuff to share with you in the coming weeks. But don't forget, this Saturday is the final day to get your Imagine Award nominations in. Of course, it's free to do so. Anyone can do this. If you're an author, a publisher, or a representative of an author, anything like that, we have the largest array of categories yet, and you got to get those nominations in by midnight on Saturday, February the 1st. So go over to the Imaginarium site, enter the
Not
Imaginarium.com, and look up
3 a.m.
Imagine
Go
Awards.
ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
Not
No,
3 a.m. on Saturday,
nope. 12 Eastern, 12 p.m.
12
12
Eastern.
p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Because otherwise, your nomination will
Yep.
not be
Yep.
included.
We're strict on the timestamps. Yeah. We check those timestamps when we validate each of the entries. So get over there, make your nominations. You have a few more days to do so, but Saturday at midnight Eastern is the last time that you can get a nomination in for the 2025 Imagine Awards. And then we also want to pass along, we added 4 new workshops to our programming, and they're great ones. We added Building Believable Worlds for All Genres from Ava Cuvée, and it's all about world building and not just for speculative fiction. This is focusing on all genres. We also have Pump Up Your Prose, also from Ava Cuvée. Really excited to have Ava's workshops in this. And it's absolutely going to be a great workshop with a list of craft rules to help trim down and beef up the power of your prose. We also have Being Creative During Times of Grief and Trauma, and this is presented by Tim Bischoff. And this is all about those times when you're going through the rough storms of life and staying creative or finding a way to channel that and use it. But yeah, sometimes obviously it can seem overwhelming, but this is a workshop about staying creative during the rough patches in life.
And an outlet,
Yeah,
giving you an
as an
outlet.
outlet. Yeah. And
Mhm.
then this one is one I'm really curious about myself. I might have sent in on this one. Using
Mhm.
email marketing to convert casual acquaintances into super fans. And yes, this is given by Marilyn Barr and S. Cinders. So we have 2 presenters in this, and this is all about the world of email newsletters, email lists, and how to do them effectively in order to really make connections with folks and really get them to tune in to you and engage with you. So yeah, it's a really insightful and in-depth workshop on email marketing. So definitely check that out. Yeah, we got lots more on the way, but those 4 editions have been made recently. So yeah, we hope you like that. And then last but not least, we had our first Imaginarium Writer Wednesday spotlight that we posted around on our social media channels, and we'll go ahead and give a highlight to that here, and that would be for Rose Garcia, who is an award-winning USA Today bestselling author and screenwriter. She's a lawyer turned writer who writes young adult and new adult fantasy with Hispanic characters, complicated romance, powerful families, and dynamic friendships. And you can meet Rose in person Imaginarium this summer. But yes, we gave her a Imaginarium Writer Wednesday spotlight, so we figured we'll share that here with you on the podcast. But really excited to have Rose. She's gonna be great. She's also in our expo. You definitely want to check that out and check out all of her great books. So yes, Holly, is there anything that you wanted to go over before we get to our?
No, our guest is on board, so let's get
Yes,
our sponsors and get our lovely guest in the room.
yes, we absolutely will. And so tonight, yes, we have the amazing Ren Garcia and of course Sandy Lander, the genre blender. But first, we'll give you that famous spot from Ren with the famous question. So here we go. Here's from Ren.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Yes, Ren.
We are indeed.
We are
We
indeed.
are indeed, Ren
We are
Garcia.
indeed. This is the Star Chamber show, Ren. You know that. So yeah, thank you very much, Ren. And yes, we hope to see you this summer. Now we'll give you a little bit from Sandy Lender, and yeah, she doesn't quite have a new spot just ready just yet. She's got a big book festival she's preparing for this weekend. But here is a little message from Sandy. Now that the season of love and romance is underway, don't forget that author Sandy Lender has books for everyone. From the Fairy Holidays series to her epic fantasy series, there's a touch of romance woven beneath the action, or horror, or sword and sorcery, or space dragons, or whatever flavor of title you pick out. Visit Sandy Linder's author page on Amazon to see the over 20 titles under the speculative fiction umbrella and pick out your next favorite story today. Right now, Sandy recommends the vampire satire My Fairy Valentine for an entertaining light romance read going into Valentine's Day. Yes, folks. Yeah, thank you very much, Sandy. And yeah, she as you kind of get the hint, yeah, that's why we call her the genre blender. Yeah, great writer of all kinds of fun stuff. And yes, chat room's open, folks. So yeah, keep on
It
coming
is.
in. Yes, lots of great stuff. DL Hearn, Dwan Moon, he's in there. Facts, Porcupine Podcast, Black Dragons Radio. I see in there. Hello to you guys. I can see Carol Pre-Flattish in there. By the way, Carol just delivered back edits to Carol on a brand new novel she has upcoming, and boy, let me tell you, it's gonna be a good one. And no, it's not a new Nathan Perry Mysteries book. This is something else. So yeah, keep on tune for this. It is fantastic. But yeah, just finished that up. So want to make sure I gave her a quick shout out. But yes, we're going to go over to our guest of the evening, and we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. So this is great, Holly. We're not dragging tonight.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
But we do
And
have one in the chat room.
yes, but tonight, yes, we do. We do. Yes, Black Dragons Radio is in the chat room. Definitely. But yeah, and definitely also want to give our shout out to our friends, Vamp Chat with Dan and Eva. They had another great episode tonight, and just keep on producing a great show here on Podbean. So I always like to give them a shout out too. But yes, tonight's guest, here we go, folks, for the first time ever on the Star Chamber show. But tonight's guest is the author of the historical romance novel Healer, a novel, which is the first of a series. Tonight's guest also interviews film talent for two entertainment magazines, Hollywood Weekly and Ace Magazine Network. And so tonight, as I mentioned before, for the very first time, we are honored and privileged to bring aboard to this show Alex A. Kecskes. And Alex, we've got you on. Your mic is on, and welcome to the Star Chamber show.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes,
We
yes.
can.
Here, yeah, a little light, but yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
good to hear from you, and looking forward to talking with you tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, Holly first met you, but yeah, since I've been looking into what your work is and hearing about you, I mean, we're just really glad to have you tonight. And so, yeah, feel free to introduce yourself to our audience right now.
Well, my name is Alex Kecskes. I'm a writer. I started as a screenwriter, writing a lot of screenplays. I had one optioned, and when the option ran out, I decided to try my luck in novels. So the first novel I wrote took about 2 years. That was 2 years ago, and I finished it. And I found a publisher that was interested in it. And basically, it's a excuse me. It's a historical romance with a spec fiction element. And the spec fiction element is time travel.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think your story is really interesting because we get a lot of different writing journeys on the show. And when I was reading about you, you actually started in your writing path doing radio TV spots, and that was after you had served in the U.S. Marines, which I think is awesome. We love that. We love our veterans here on the show. And so from there, you went to being a screenplay writer, and one of your screenplays was optioned. Then you started into the novels and short stories. I love the path you took. Yeah, for first writing
Yes.
stuff for radio, TV, then screenplays, and then short stories and novels. I'd love to hear a little bit about that sequence because that's
Yeah, your
pretty interesting.
transition. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, your transition.
Well, the transition basically occurred when I started writing short stories and people started responding to them. So I thought, okay, maybe I should stay away from screenplays. I'm not having much luck at that because Hollywood was very hard to break into. It was really hard. I had a partner, and he and I wrote a couple of screenplays, and I wrote one myself. And I got it optioned. I waited for the option, and nothing happened. So I decided, okay, let's try novel writing. So I tried to do a couple of novels, outlined them, and I thought, why not try a historical romance with a spec fiction element? And basically, Healer is about two doctors who meet in the 19th century, and their approaches to medicine are wildly different. There's a beautiful, strong-willed Renee Sakin who is recently expelled from her third year in medical college for laudanum abuse. And
Uh-huh.
both her parents died suddenly. So she sought refuge in the opioid of the day, which was laudanum.
Uh-huh.
And then she left New York. She headed west to a small mining town in Tennessee. And she thought, well, there's a lot of accidents in mining towns, and they have child labor, and I'd like to help out with that. So she went to the small mining town, and she encountered this mysterious guy, this handsome guy called Charles Noble. And he was very reclusive and mysterious. And he performed these miraculous feats, restoring a blind woman's sight and saving a 12-year-old girl who worked in the mines from leukemia. So Renee was constantly determined to discover his secret, but confronting him and trying to be there when he performed his miracles was was pretty hard because he was very secretive. And he decided he couldn't trust her in the beginning because she was still taking laudanum.
Right.
So our mysterious healer, he finally confronts Renee. Renee Sagan. He says, what do you want? What's your goal? What do you want out of life? And she replies, she says, I never want to tell a patient what I've heard so many doctors say, and that is, there's nothing I can do. And so,
Uh-huh.
and he says, how would you like it if I showed you a method, a secret, where you'd never have to say those words again? And so the story unfolds. He lets her in finally. They fall in love. They move to California in a rush because there's some desperate men eager to steal Charles's secret because they want to know. Back then it
Right.
was, you know. So, but in the end, Renee makes a life-altering decision to be with Charles. I won't say what that is because it ends in a cliffhanger. And so right
Mhm.
Oh,
now I'm writing the
cool.
sequel because everybody was complaining. They said, "What's going on? What happened to Renee?"
We want to know. We want to know.
All
Everybody was
right.
screaming at me. My publisher said, "People want to know what the hell happened to Renee." This is okay.
So what inspired you to write this novel here?
Well, I used to watch a show called what was it called? Uh, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, I think it was.
Yes, that's it. Mhm.
Yes, I love that show.
Good show. Good
Yeah,
show.
and I really felt sorry for her a couple of times because number one, she was
Yep.
never really accepted as a medical professional,
Right.
and number two, there were a lot of times when she'd have to say, "There's nothing I can do,"
Hmm.
and I thought
Right.
to myself, well, what if somebody came by and said, "You'd never have to say those words again"? What if I could cure all these people?
Hmm.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, and I thought, well, that would make an interesting story because I've never quite seen that. I've seen a lot of historical romances, I've seen a lot of sci-fi, I've seen a lot of time travel. But what if you
Hmm.
combine the two? Because that's what I always like to do. I always like to, when I was screenwriting, I always like to combine odd things and
Hmm.
to ask myself, what if? What if this? What if that happened? What if you turned this story around and you did that? So anyway, that's the genesis of Healer, a novel.
Well, that sounds really interesting. And yeah,
Nice.
describing your protagonist as reclusive and mysterious was pretty much how Holly describes me, often. but,
Yes, you're
but, but yes,
inclusive.
but yeah, all joking aside, I love those type of characters. Yeah, they have a lot of element of mystery and so forth. And I detect a little bit of as another one, Holly's favorite series is the Outlander series. A little bit of
Yes,
that dynamic
yes,
with the
I did too.
the
That's what I was
time
thinking.
travel in the past and
Yeah, I'm
a little bit of that knowledge, of, especially with the medical topic. But it looks like it's a real blender. I had mentioned earlier genre blending, and does look like a nice blender of romance, time travel, historical elements, and it's. I mean, Holly. I know Holly's gonna talk to you about this because it's set in her favorite century, the 19th
Yes, it is.
century.
And
Yeah.
I'm a retired nurse, so
Yeah.
yeah, you've done piqued my interest. And I'm a huge Outlander fan, so yeah, I'm on. I'll
yeah.
be purchasing this book.
I did a lot of research in medical practices back then when they were pretty scary. Let's put it that way.
They were, and it was, even the common folk today would be like, "Ooh, no, that's not good. That's not sterile. That's not, no, that's not clean. You shouldn't have done that." You know, uh, it's just we've come a long way, baby. We have come a long way in medicine.
Yeah,
A decade. A decade is a whole new. Every decade we leap forward. You know,
Hmm.
a mountain of knowledge. It's
Hmm.
amazing. But
Well,
you're right. They've done everything they can, and it was very difficult when the physicians did have to say, "There's no more I can do for you.
yeah,
There's nothing else I can do." And it
yeah,
wasn't their lack of knowledge or that they were a bad physician. It was just literally that is all they were taught, or that anyone in the world knew what to do about that, particular element or injury or,
Hmm.
whatnot. And I did love the aspect of, like, in Dr. Quinn, and it's the same with Outlander, that the use of herbs and medicinal,
yeah,
you know, plants
yeah,
come into play because, well, that was our original medicine. Right, and that's what they used back then. It was a lot of herbal
Hmm.
treatments and remedies because that's what they had on hand. The invention of laudanum was good and bad,
yeah,
um, because, people did get addicted,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
as we've, found out going down the road, just like they do today. It's
yeah.
not changed. People have got addicted to fentanyl and everything today. So yeah, that stayed the same. It's just the drugs have got more synthetic and a little stronger. Yeah,
Well, in the
but yeah,
after the Civil War, the field surgeons would perform surgery, and they'd have a cigar in their mouth while they performed surgery.
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Those
Ashes
were.
falling everywhere. Well,
Yeah,
they used to have to take off limbs. They'd
Mhm.
just stick a stick or whatever was handy in the patient's mouth, and somebody would hold, a couple of soldiers hold them down,
yeah,
and they would take
Yeah.
their legs. I mean, it was rough.
Hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a rough time. And then also health wise in that era too, you had the dawn of the industrial age, which brought with it a whole lot of other things. Obviously with the the conditions that people would work in the early factories and
Yes,
whatnot. And
what
so
they
yeah,
were
you had a lot,
exposed to.
lot of so you had a lot of new things introduced that I think were definitely gave challenges to people practicing medicine and so forth back then. So yeah, definitely
Yes.
yeah, definitely have
So yeah,
somebody.
I can imagine that the historical, well, the history, the research you had to do going into this. I mean, where did you draw from? Where did you get most of your research from? Was it like online or libraries, or where did you research this?
when I was at the ad agency, we had a medical account. In fact, we had several medical accounts, and I'd interview these doctors, and I'd say, what do you think is going to happen in 100 years? What do you think is going to happen in 200 years? And they gave me all this great stuff, and then I did a lot of research about the past and how medicine was very antiquated, very dangerous, in fact, in the old days, and they still believed in the miasma theory of disease, where it was in the air and something in the air was causing all this disease, and they rejected the bacteria and infection concept of disease. So I thought I did a lot of research that way too, going in the past and then going in the future too. I asked them, what would you like to see? Like a surgeon, what would you like to see in 100 years? What would you like to see in 200 years? And I got a lot of insight from that.
Definitely, yeah, and it's yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, that is I was also going to mention too. Even that's the era where you have a lot of charlatans going around selling as we call it snake oil, the cure alls and this that and
Yeah,
the other. And that was
yeah.
definitely an 18th or 19th century thing, and yeah, you had a lot of stuff kind of going around there. And but
Well, you
yeah,
had a lot of traveling physicians too that had bogus
yeah.
things,
That's right.
that, yeah, yeah, that they tried to give people, obviously, that we're gonna do nothing. Most of it was watered down whiskey or something like that. But yeah, here,
Right.
have some whiskey.
Have some whiskey.
The whole idea of snake oil came from China because China they used snake oil and they used a lot of healthy herbs and other stuff with it. But
Mhm.
what happened with the snake oil salesman? They just dropped all the Chinese stuff and just sold just alcohol and opioids and that kind of stuff. So it lost its effectiveness.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Now I'm curious a little bit about your time travel dynamic, because obviously we mentioned Outlander, and they have
Yes.
the Circle of Stones is kind of how they do the time travel, and other shows have portals or this or that. With if it's not a spoiler, I was going to ask you what was the dynamic of time travel that you chose? How does it get accomplished in your world? Is it more supernatural? Is it more scientific?
Or is it like a TARDIS, like
Yeah,
Doctor Who?
It's more scientific. It's more scientific.
Nice.
He has a watch that allows him to go back into the future,
Ooh.
back
nice.
into the past. He has a time travel mechanism where he lives in the future, and then he uses a watch. The watch keeps him alive in that time, and it allows him to go back to the future.
Nice. So
That's
in
cool.
so I the way I'm hearing it, this protagonist could potentially just pick to go to any age, right?
He
Large.
can. He chose the late 19th century because if he'd gone back too far, he was afraid he'd be burned at the stake, crucified, called a
Yeah.
Right.
Which,
or something. So
Warlock. Yeah.
he wanted to go to a time where medicine was just evolving, just at its nascency, and some people would appreciate what he was doing. Basically,
So it's a time that was just safe enough to operate.
yes. Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
he was a lot of. I know he helped out the Indians too, because the Indians suffered. He helped out the Indians. There's a whole thing about Indians and their
Cool.
folklore and how they believed in the cures of
Mhm.
roots and plants and that kind of thing.
Yes. Yes.
So we go into
Love
that.
it.
Absolutely, and yeah, that still practice goes on today with of
Oh,
course
yes.
exploration in the jungles and rainforests with new things they discover that have properties that address various things. I mean, that's still
Oh,
an
where
ongoing
our house
process.
is filled with
Yeah,
essential oils. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm
all that
big.
stuff.
I
Yeah,
love the essential oil aspect and the herbs. Got lots of herbs. But yeah, I'm big into that, the plants and the holistic approach to
Yeah.
things.
The Indians
Yeah.
and the Chinese, they're both well ahead of their time in this story.
hmm and yeah, I know Holly would love to borrow that watch but she'd be heading over to England to meet Victoria and Albert over
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
without a doubt.
Well, I
Without a
guess
doubt.
Albert would be past by this point if it's late 19th century,
Yes, Albert
but
would
yeah,
be gone,
Victoria
but
at
I
least.
could
Yeah,
still
yeah,
meet little Victoria,
yeah.
and
hmm
that's by the way our kitty's fifth
Yeah, the cats we
anniversary
mentioned are
today.
named after them. So
Yes, that's who our cats are named after. So yes, Queen Victoria and
so
Prince Albert.
our Hollies and also have my respect for it. The 19th century love is real here. That's for sure.
It was a time of discovery
Uh
and
huh.
invention and medical breakthroughs. They were trying to discover. Yeah, that's like you were mentioning bacteria and everything. They just could not imagine that something that they could not see without the naked eye
That's
would
right.
actually can make you sick. So yeah, that whole idea was very foreign to most people. But yeah, I love this idea of a time traveler. So he is not from that time, right? He is from the actual future.
He's from the future. Yeah,
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
from the future.
That is neat. I love the whole concept.
Yeah.
It's very original. I mean, the whole concept. I love it.
Does he
So,
come
do
from
you
a
plan
future
on?
that's
Okay,
far ahead of us, or is it a future near future to us, or is it a future that's like ahead of us?
far ahead.
I would 24th century, 25th century,
Nice. Okay.
Okay,
2416.
Nice. Nice. So you were
okay.
asking Holly. I'm sorry. I think you were also talking there. What was your question, Holly?
Oh no, lost my train of thought now.
Lost your train of thought. No, you're time
It didn't
traveling
take
already, Holly.
much. Yeah, I'm
You're
time
already
traveling.
time
I'm
traveling.
in the wrong timeline, so there's
Yeah,
that.
there's that.
I was going to say, for those who are interested, my publisher is offering a Valentine's Day special.
Cool.
hmm
If you're on Amazon Kindle, you can get it for 99 cents.
Woo!
And who is your publisher? Because we always love to give shout outs
Yeah.
to good publishers on the show.
Solstice Publishing.
Solstice Publishing.
Solstice.
So
Love the name.
it's a small publishing house, but I like them because they're very personal.
That's what we love about small presses and all. Yeah, you
Yes.
definitely get to actually interact with people delivering your
I
books. So
really like them.
yeah, definitely. But who are some of your inspirations for the two characters? Did they come from kind of like a true people in your life, or they how did the inspiration for your characters come about? Your main protagonists.
Basically, like I said, it was Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. I really felt sorry for her
Mhm.
half the time because she couldn't do
Hmm.
it. I wanted to have somebody to help her out, and so I thought this might make a good story. I thought this would be a good story. And then I thought, well, she has to be good looking. The guy has to be good, handsome, because it's a love story. So,
Hmm.
I have
Right.
this handsome-looking guy, and they just fall in love after a while. But there's a lot of sparks flying because initially she doesn't believe any of it. She thinks he's a huckster.
Hmm.
She doesn't believe him at
Right.
all. You know,
Sure.
and
Yes, she
Yeah.
probably thinks he's full of it, like the traveling salesman. Yeah, she probably thinks he's
you know
full of it.
what drew one of the things that drew her to the small mining town was an article in the New York Times that she had read, and it was in the like the opinion section, and it just made fun of this guy, this Charles Noble guy, because he claimed he could, the townsfolk, one of the townsfolk must have sent in a note or something about him healing somebody. And of course, the New York Times, they didn't believe it. They said this guy's a huckster, and but she was curious about it. She says, "No, I got to find out. Maybe there's something about this guy. There's something about this guy. So I have to find out." So that was one of the reasons why she left New York to go to the small mining town.
Nice, nice. And the vision for the series, because you clearly indicated that this is the first of a series, and you do end on a cliffhanger. So I have to
Right.
ask, yeah, what are the plans for the series?
Well, I've almost completed the second draft. It's almost done. I've got about 72,000 words. And that's about that's about the length I want to go with it. So it's done. I just have to edit and go back and edit it. I do multiple edits, and then I do, and then I have a couple of beta readers that read it, and then
Hmm.
uh, and then I do a final edit, and then I submit it to the publisher.
Very
But
nice.
it's going to
Yeah,
answer
and,
the question. It'll answer the question of what happened to Renee Sakin.
and this one just came out in mid 2024, and it's a good sized book. It's I saw the print length is 323 pages, so
Yeah.
nice solid sized book for sure. And your ratings are great. Yeah, you got a 4.8 star rating so far. So yeah, congratulations on
Wonderful.
that.
Thank
But
you.
do you have an idea about how long the series would be? Is it planned? Do you have a definitive number of titles planned, or is it just kind of leaving it open?
Well, the sequel that I've written and finished also ends in a cliffhanger.
Aha.
So we're definitely going to go to three then,
It's going to go to three. Yeah, it's going to go to three.
at least three.
So,
But in our world, I mean, we even have cases where we've had authors that have written that are writing the fifth book of their
Yeah.
quartet or the fourth book of their trilogy. So,
Yeah.
so it happens.
It does
I mean,
happen.
you never know. You never know how long a
Or you get
series may
novellas.
be.
You get spin-off characters. You get
E-
novellas.
even when you have it planned out a certain way.
Hmm.
But you did mention it also in your bio that I read that you also did some short fiction. Can you give us a little insight into some of the short fiction you've written? Is it related to this, or is it different?
no, it's different. It's about, well, I'm thinking of turning it into a full length novel. It's about a journalist who has lost his wife recently, and he writes for a science magazine, a reputable science magazine, and the editors feel sorry for him because he's still in this funk. He's lost his wife, so he says, "I want you to check out the story in Nazca, Peru. Are you familiar with the Nazca lines?"
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I knew Stephen would be.
Hmm.
he goes there and he investigates the Nazca lines, and he said, "Well, there's nothing really going on here." And then he encounters this waitress who is really kind of spastic and dropping things and clumsy and stuttering and everything else. And what it turns out to be, basically the story arc is that this waitress is a descendant from alien visitors who visited Nazca 5,000 years ago.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
And she morphs into this beautiful, intelligent alien presence. I mean, she doesn't change physically, but she becomes this super intelligent person. And this journalist is just blown away because he thought he was going to do a story on the Nazca lines, which have been done to death. He says the Nazca lines have been done to death. There's nothing new to write about this. So they encounters this waitress, and he finds out that she's this alien, super intelligent person. So that's basically the story arc.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can tell already that you definitely do like blending genre elements. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see a lot of stuff going on there. That
I
sounds
might
good.
develop that into a full length story because the story is
Oh,
called,
yeah.
yeah, the title is Starbound
Nice, nice. That's a
because
good
she's
title.
bound to the stars. So she's bound to the stars. But
Well,
Yeah,
initially,
that's
you could definitely turn that into a full length. Oh, yeah.
oh
yeah,
easy.
I'd
Yeah,
like to turn that into a full length too. So,
Mhm.
but
yeah.
that,
With that.
put that on, I was gonna write that one next, but then because I ended this one in a cliffhanger, the publisher said, you gotta, you gotta fix this, you know?
People got to know.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll put Starbound on hold and write this one.
Well, just keep ending them in cliffhangers, and your publisher will keep you busy. Then, right?
There
So
you go.
I know. So, oh, rest.
that sounds really interesting. Yeah, that does as well.
And
So
then and then also you not only are you like a prolific writer here, but you've also done journalism and you're a ninth grade English teacher. Is that right?
Well, that's my ninth grade English teacher gave me the inspiration to become a writer.
mhm,
Ah,
that's the
okay.
connection.
I wrote
That's
a I wrote a story about my flight to America from Germany to New York, and
Okay.
I was 5 years old on the plane flying across the Atlantic Ocean and and experiencing taste of Coca-Cola for the first time. And I thought, wow, this is
Oh,
great stuff. So I had a few Cokes. I got a little wired up on caffeine. And I told the flight attendant that I thought one of the propellers was slowing down. And she said, no, we can land with three other propellers. Don't worry. And my mother told the flight attendant, says, no more Cokes for Alex.
yeah. I I understand. Yeah, when I've
So,
been on planes as
so
a kid,
anyway,
I was
I wrote
watching
that
those
story.
things close.
So I
I
wrote the
understand.
story, and the teacher started reading our stories out loud in class. It was the ninth grade, and I didn't think my story was that good. So I kind of shrunk in my seat a little bit. But after he read mine, he said, "Someday this boy will be a great writer."
oh wow.
Nice. Yeah.
And I held on to that to this day. I held on to that.
Yeah,
Wow.
that yet you started your writing, yeah, doing radio TV spots.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I figured, I had to make a living as a writer, and I thought, well, just starting off with no name, no nothing, I had to. So I thought, okay, I can write pretty good. Why don't I
Mhm.
try, working in an ad agency? So I got into an ad agency, and they said, well, how are you with radio? And I said, well, I can write radio. I can write anything. And so they gave me these radio spots, and they were supposed to be 30-second spots. They ended up being 2 minutes. And they go, wait a minute, you only got 30 seconds. So it was a brutal awakening about how to really condense what you're trying to say in the
Mhm.
most words possible. So that's how I learned to write, and how I learned the discipline of condensing what you really mean into as little words as possible.
And now, was it difficult for you when you went from there to screenplays, but then from screenplays to novels and short stories? Was there
Yeah,
any difficulty going to the larger format and being more descriptive and more a little more exposition, things like that?
yeah. Screenwriting is 80% structure. It's almost all
Yes.
formula. It's you do this on page 21 to 25. You do that on 55 to 60, and then you turn the
Hmm.
corner, you go to 85 to 90, and then you wrap things up before you get to page 120. In a screenplay, you really can't get into a character's head. have to do it with action or speech. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, few people that I found that can do it just without getting into their head is like Helen Mirren, Anthony Hopkins, maybe Denzel Washington. They're pretty good at letting you inside their heads with their expressions and the way they act. But generally, who a character is what they do and what they say. So novels give writers immense freedom. You get to write
Yes.
page after page of internal conflict. You get into their head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah,
said,
you can be so much more descriptive. Yeah.
yeah. That said, basically, conflict is a great way to reveal character, and that's why so many characters that I write they argue all the time because sometimes it doesn't even matter what they're arguing about. It's just you get to learn who they are through through the arguments. It's engaging when you. I always cite the example when you're at a store or in a restaurant, your ears perk up the minute people start arguing because you immediately
Yes.
try to side with one or the other, and you become invested in the scene. You become invested. you
Mm-hmm.
know, if people are just talking normally on their phones, there's nothing. But when they start arguing, your ears perk up and go, "What the hell? What's going on?"
That's true. That is so true. Me and Steven do that.
Look, well, I was about to say, yeah, conflict does drive the story. It really
Yeah,
does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pacing
it does.
wise.
And it's entertaining for the reader
Mm-hmm.
too because
yeah,
we can relate. We relate to doing those things, those human things, and that's what's always funny about writers is we'll be out at a restaurant or we'll be somewhere and you hear people say things or you see I don't know the way they presented themselves or their taste in clothing and their fashion sense and all this and you come up with so many cool ideas for new characters or to add
Mm-hmm.
to a character in your own world that you've created. It's yeah, we're people watchers, right?
yeah. We love to watch people. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
Absolutely.
we're very intuitive into people and what they do, their mannerisms, everything about them. Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Because like, hey, I could use that later on. You make a mental note.
Now you were drawn
Yes.
to the 19th century for this story. Are there any other, because I've already can tell that you have an interest in historical things because you were talking about the short story book and the history of Peru and things like that.
Mhm.
Short story that you were developing possibly in a novel. Are there any? Are there what other periods of history might appeal to you for a historically based story in the future? Are there other periods that attract you?
Well, I would say, present day is what I'm concentrating on now. There's another story I'm working on well, I go back into time a little bit. It's a story about my father, basically. It's a rough idea about my father. He was an artist, and he was a Hungarian artist, and
Oh,
caught up.
neat.
He was caught up in World War II.
Oh.
Yeah, and he one of the things I remember very clearly because he always told us these war stories, and one of
Hmm.
the stories he told us was he was in the Hungarian infantry and he was separated from his unit and he was all by himself and he was walking along and there was a city, a small city, and he looked up and this plane circled. It was like a skywriting plane. It left a a cloud, a sky, a little ring, a ring
Hmm.
around the city. It left a complete ring around the city. And he looked at it and he thought, what's going on? Is the war over? I mean, looks very, 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 very happy. And so he waited a couple of minutes. And then he heard these big planes come over, and there
Oh.
was there was like 50 planes come over, and they waited. The planes waited till they got over the ring, and then they dropped bombs through the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It was like marking the spot.
It's my marking the spot, and I thought, wow. And I saw it.
Oh.
So he
Well, that,
told us stories like that, and I'm basing my next novel on that kind of life, the life he led, and he had a lot of close calls, a lot of stuff, and he was
Well, that's a rough area to be in World War II because that's Eastern
Yeah.
Front. So, yeah, you're dealing with the Russian advance. Of course,
Ooh.
Hungary got swept up into that after World War II, obviously. But yeah, that whew, yeah, that's a rough place to be. Eastern Front, World War II. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
Western
Decent.
audiences, I don't think, appreciate just how titanic that front was. Yeah,
Right.
during World War II. I mean, that
Pretty
was something
awful. Yeah,
else.
it was
Yeah.
an awful war, and yeah,
Hmm.
it was. He was. He was in the Hungarian army, and the Hungarian army was with the
Yeah.
Germans, but the
Yeah.
Germans
Axis.
used the
Yeah.
Hungarian army as fodder, as
Hmm.
fodder.
Right.
So he was in a unit, in a German unit, and the German commander said, "Okay, we need to go through this minefield. So we need you Hungarian guys to go through this minefield."
Oh.
So
Oh boy. Yeah.
and the Hungarian soldiers said, "No, I don't want to do that." And so they said, "Well, we got two machine guns, 50 calibers that are aimed at you. If you don't go, we're going to shoot you." So these
Hmm.
Hungarian guys, they started going through the minefield, and my father went through the minefield, and he saw one of his friends get blown to bits. So he just started running, and the machine gunners shot at him, but they missed. They
Oh.
couldn't.
Hmm.
So that was another story he told me. I was like, "Wow, that's
Yeah.
another interesting story."
Wow. Yeah, that's
Well,
fascinating.
that's one to
That
work
would be.
in. Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that would be very, very cool to get that down
Yeah.
Hmm.
um, on paper. To get to 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 have his legacy go on.
So
Hmm.
anyway, those are the kind of stories that I'm playing with right now. But right now I'm
Wow.
involved in Healer, so I got to finish Healer.
Yeah.
Got to get that one done before everybody has a fit wondering
Sure.
what happened.
What
Yeah.
happened? No, it sounds great. Yeah, I love all the ideas that you're working on. But also, I see that also currently, yeah, you interview film talent as well, and I think this is really cool. And I wanted to just give a little bit of attention to this. Was yeah, you interview for two entertainment magazines, Hollywood Weekly and Ace Magazine Network, and you've interviewed a slew of folks that have been in some major productions here.
Yeah, it's very interesting to talk to those people. When you talk to directors, they all wish they had either more time or a bigger budget. They're always complaining about that.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to actors, it's all about getting into character, both mentally and physically. And they talk about, some of the action scenes and some of the stuff they have to do. And
Hmm.
you learn a lot about the lives and the struggles that you don't really see on these TV shows. So, one of the actors I interviewed was Kelly Lynch, and she was in a terrible car accident. Her legs were crushed, and she was told
Oh.
she was told she would never walk the same again. But she overcame that and became an elite model and an actress. And she was starring in Roadhouse and what was the other one, Magic City
Magic City. Hmm.
and Charlie's
Mhm.
Angels. Yeah. And then I says, "Well, wow, that's terrible." And she says, "Well, there's more." And I says, "Really?" And she says, "Yeah." She says, "Her sister had cancer, and like most cancer patients, she lost. If they shave your head, they lose your hair. So Kelly would bring her sister wigs from the from the studio prop department. And one
Oh
day
wow.
Shirley Temple, the other day she made a little chibi China doll. She said it really made her day. So
Oh.
you know, you just get to learn a lot about these people and their lives, and some of it I can put down as I can have printed. Others they say, well, let's not put that in print.
Right.
Yeah, that's for the that's
So
for the unabridged cut of the interview. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I interviewed Michael Emerson. Do you know who he is? He played Linus
Lost.
on Lost,
Lost. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, Lost, and then he did Person of Interest. So I said, what were you like in high school? And because that's always asked that, what are you like in high school? And he says, I got picked on and I got beat up a lot, you know. And he said he went home to his mother and complained. He says that people are always beating me up. And his mother told him, he says, look, you have a big mouth, you have to shut up. And he said, she said, you have a very punchable face, so you have to shut up.
Well, Holly and I love Michael Emerson. The name rang a bell because I
Yeah.
knew this was who was. And yeah, that's Leland from Evil, one of my
Oh, it's
favorite
Yeah,
Leland.
characters.
that's
Oh
right.
my God, we love his
Yeah,
character on
what,
Evil so
Yeah,
much.
we love that
what he
character.
was doing
It's the
lately, yeah.
best.
He was doing the evil, yeah, he was doing that. But
I mean,
he was a funny guy.
he's
Really
just delightfully bad in that series. He's
Yeah,
just
we get
funny.
so tickled with that character because he makes it come through as it's deliciously evil, and he's
He's
enjoying
so
every bit of
happy to
it.
be evil. He
He's
has
so
such
happy
a
to
joy.
be this evil, and it's just fantastic. We love that character.
Yeah, he cracks me up in that series. Such a good
a very
actor.
interesting guy, a very quirky, interesting guy, very interesting guy to interview.
Yeah, I was wondering, yeah, what it's like to talk to him for sure. Because yeah, we sure enjoy that series. And I knew him from Lost. I knew that he was in
Yeah,
Lost, but
yeah.
Well, he's an interesting character. Yeah, so you meet a lot of different interesting people. Friday, Friday I'm interviewing Scott Taylor Compton. She co-stars in a movie, a shark movie, and she's a diver forced by these smugglers to retrieve guns from a sunken ship in a shark-infested waters.
Oh,
mm,
Stephen will love this.
I would love that. I love
Really
those kind of.
looking forward to asking her about the shark-infested waters.
Hmm.
So that's Friday. I'm going to talk to her about that.
Yeah, I can't get enough of shark movies. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
addicted to those.
Mm-mm. No.
But
Yeah,
that's
it's fascinating when you get to interview, because you see these characters on TV and on screen.
yeah.
Well, that's not the people, and you find that the actors are and actresses are very much different, but that's when they're in character, when they're not, and you hear
mhm,
some just fascinating stories of how they
mhm.
got from A to B.
They do, yeah. You get some really interesting stories, and their big complaint is they don't like the ladies, especially don't like the close-ups because today, you got high definition TV and you got these really close,
Mhm.
Yes.
and the ladies are always complaining, "Oh, they're moving so close." I have to spend
Yeah,
hours
they get every little pimple, every little wrinkle, every little everything. Now you can see hairs on the face now.
complaining about
Yeah,
that.
it's crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
it's harder for makeup artists and special effects people now
Yeah,
too because of that. Because the seams and things like that are easier to
yeah, you can't get
go.
by.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
what you could with the
yeah.
the old days, you can't get
Before
by with that now. You have to be very, very intricate,
perfect.
and just
Yeah, to be
yeah, it
about
has to be
perfect.
perfect.
So yeah, that's
Hmm.
definitely that. But yeah, you've. I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, doing interviews with all these folks. Yeah, you probably get a lot of good stories and some good character ideas for your book work. I would have to say.
entertaining to talk to. They really are. So a lot of them, they party on Sunday, and then they realize that Monday morning at 4 o'clock they got to be in the makeup chair. In the
Yeah,
Yep.
morning, 4 o'clock, you go, oh my God, I got to be in the makeup at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I partied all night.
coffee.
Can they resurrect my face? Let's complain about that.
Yeah, the wonders of makeup, man.
Yeah, yeah, losing makeup. Yeah,
Now you
That is
now you
that's
now
good.
you have written screenplays before, one of which we mentioned was optioned, and you are on the West Coast, based on the West Coast, and so
Mhm.
now that you've got some a novel in play and everything, are
Yeah.
you interested in doing an adaptation of it, or in also looking to option it to be developed into a property? Is that in your plans? I'm curious with your
yeah. What
previous
I'm
experience.
like I said, I've written a couple of screenplays. I did have one optioned, and I do write a lot of film reviews, so I kind of have a feel for what the audience wants. And so I was
Mhm,
thinking, rather than go back and rewriting screenplays, which I really don't like anymore, I'd rather have sell the rights to it and have a
mhm.
professional screenwriter who's known in the industry and have him write it. But that's hard to get. So I'd like to get like a book to film agent right now. That's what I'm looking for.
Nice. Yeah, I was just curious. Yeah, because given your previous experience, and then also the fact that I can clearly tell you're very very engaged with the film world. Yeah, that sounds because it sounds like your novel, Healer would be fantastic as a on screen, whether
Yeah,
a
definitely.
series or television, or a film or whatever. Sounds like it could work in either one, especially with the age of the episodic series that we have now, and
Oh
like
yeah.
Netflix. Sounds like that would be
There's so many options now.
so many more options. But so what is ahead for you? Going to make sure we give you time to spotlight appearances and events, and anything that you have on projected for release in the near future.
Well, like I said, I'm finishing up on the sequel. I've been invited to a lot of writing clubs and writing book clubs, that kind of stuff. So I'm presenting
Mm-hmm.
my novel there. And I've also been invited to the Central Library of San Diego as one of the upcoming authors in 2024. So I'll be presenting my book there. And then I'm going to try to get another trailer made for Healer. So I've already have
Mm-hmm.
one trailer made, but it's not the greatest. So I want to get a little bit better trailer made for it. So that would be my goal for that. And then other than that, I'm pretty busy. I don't really have time for much else.
Yeah, I'd say and you've got well, I mean that's just such a great area. I mean you got lots of potential events and conventions and all kinds of stuff out there in the West Coast. Yeah, definitely a lot of options for you. And
Oh yeah.
but so what platforms do you want people to connect with you on if they want to look you up and follow up on the show and check into your work? What
Well,
where should they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so
Mhm.
I-
Yes.
I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Facebook, and I
Mhm.
have a little bit of a presence on Instagram, not much, but mostly Facebook, LinkedIn, and yeah, those are the two that I'm on. And then the email is akcreativeworks
Mhm.
number 2 at gmail.com.
Gmail.com. Great. Yeah, LinkedIn is awesome, and I assume that's where you and Holly
Yes.
connected,
Yeah, I'm
is
on
on LinkedIn. Yeah, we love that platform, and I can't say enough about how many great folks I've met through there. But I imagine though in San Diego though you could fill up your Instagram account with some beautiful pictures though.
Yeah, pretty quick.
that
Yeah.
that weather you got, we're a little envious right now. We're getting a little bit of the cold side these days out here.
Yeah, right
But
now, I do a lot of writing for Ace Magazine right now, so
mhm,
you can
Oh
find
cool.
me there also, Ace Magazine,
yeah, that's
and
Okay.
Ace
then
Magazine. Yeah.
the Valentine's Day special. Don't forget about that. It's 99 cents. It's a really good deal if you belong to Kindle, Amazon Kindle. It's 99 cents, and if you do get it, please do leave a review because reviews are
Yes.
come by.
Mhm. Yeah, and you also, you have this available both in, which I love, hardcover and paperback editions.
Oh
Yeah,
nice.
So yeah, you
and
got that
Kindle. Yeah,
option too, and you can tell right by whoever did your cover design definitely conveys the right atmosphere because you can tell right by the cover that this is definitely set in the 19th century and very
yeah,
I
attractive,
love it. Love the
young
cover.
woman, as on the cover. So it definitely
Hmm.
sets the tone for what you have there. So it's a good cover. Yeah, I have to commend your publisher on that one for sure. Solstice Publishing, folks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
check
publishing.
them out. But Holly, is there anything more that you would like to ask tonight, or anything else we need to cover?
I think that's it. Other than what, who were some of your early? I do want to. I'm interested in who were your early influences as far as authors.
Well, Ray Bradbury, I met him, and
Wow,
Okay.
nice.
we had a brown bag lunch together.
Oh,
Ah,
that's awesome.
Sat on
Yeah,
a bench,
neat.
talked to him for a long time, and I got him to sign my Martian Chronicles book. So
that is that is
inspired.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, I was really inspired by him. And then Philip K. Dick, I like him. He's good.
Yes, that's one of my favorites.
And then
Yeah.
Dana Gabaldon with Outlander.
Mm.
I got the whole.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
really loved that.
Yes. I
Yeah,
do too. Yes.
I just wish that she did when they go back in time. I wish she would have brought back some penicillin with her. She's always trying to struggle with that.
Oh,
I
I
know.
know.
She's always trying to make.
Yeah,
Something like penicillin. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to make it from scratch. I thought, why don't you just go? Because she goes
Bring it
back.
back.
Yeah.
She's go back and forth and from 1949 or whatever it is, she was right
Yeah.
after the war. And I thought, why don't you just grab a couple of vials of penicillin and a couple of, a couple of some
Bring
anything?
it back.
Yeah, and bring it back with you. Anyway, that was my big wish that I wish she'd done.
Oh, that's
I've
true.
wondered that myself. I'm like, why don't she just bring it back? That was like the main thing that
Yeah,
she needed, was penicillin. Yeah. She'd
bring,
always have to try to figure out how to make it. It's like, you should have brought some back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I can't tell you the number of stories I watch where things like that happen and you just shake your head. But it's been great speaking with you tonight, Alex,
Yes.
and I love the kind of storytelling that you're working in, and I'm definitely going to have to check out Healer. Looks like a really good book and a nice genre blender. Should cross over to different kinds of readers as far as appeal, and definitely encourage folks to check it out. Valentine's Day special, Amazon, 99 cents.
yeah.
Sense.
And if you're on Kindle Unlimited, yeah, you can check it out too because it's also on Kindle
It's
Unlimited.
99 cents. You have to be
Yeah,
on Kindle. It's a Kindle deal, so you got
yeah,
to be Kindle.
yeah, yeah,
Kindle.
yeah. So if you're on Kindle Unlimited, you can get it under that or 99 cents on Kindle. So yeah, and then you can also, if you're a tangible book person like me, you can get it in hardcover and paperback at very reasonable prices. The hardcover, I think here it says $22. So yeah, the hardcover
Not
price is
bad.
great price on the hardcover. So yeah, thank you very much, Alex. And is there anything more you want to add for tonight?
No, thank you for having me. And I look forward to being on your show when I complete my next novel.
You will
Yes.
be, and we
Yes. Please
definitely,
let
yeah,
us know. Let
yeah,
me
we
know
definitely
and we'll get you back on. I want to hear about it.
Will
stay in
do.
touch between now and then, and yeah, maybe,
Yes.
yeah, like I said, we'll eventually be able to make it out to that fine area of San Diego sometime and meet you in person and enjoy that weather.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
that'd be great.
great weather here. Yeah, lots to do here. Lots to
You
do.
bet, you bet. Yeah, we do too out here. It's a lot of fun out here, but right now, yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting the cold side right now. We're getting a little bit of the
The
cold
good
We're,
thing,
side.
we're we're in horse and bourbon country here
Horse
in
and bourbon
Lexington,
country.
Kentucky.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
the good thing with San Diego is Comic Con is coming right around the corner.
Oh,
that's
that's
right.
that's Super Bowl, the Super Bowl event of events. Yeah, that's the big one. So, yeah, I don't, and running our convention, it's mind-boggling to me how something like that runs because it's hard enough doing one like ours. it's
Yeah, I
that,
can't
that
imagine. I
yeah,
can't imagine.
that's a giant. But I'll turn it over to Holly to close it out with you. But thank you, Alex, and definitely want to have you back in the future. You
Thank
take
you very
care.
much. Thank you for having
Most
me.
certainly. Yes, stay in touch, and I can't wait. I can't wait to delve into this book because, yeah, it's definitely going on my Kindle.
I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, thank you for being such a great guest,
Thank
and
you.
yes, and you have a great evening.
You
And
too.
thank you. And
Take
thank you
care.
to all of our listeners and downloaders that will listen tomorrow and on many other platforms. And join us next Wednesday, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another great guest, another great chat. For the
Take
rest
care.
of the week, be creative, all. Good
Yep.
night.